Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com, and let's talk some stock market success tips here. And we're going to use an example that is, first off, a real life result. It truly did happen, and I don't know if it can get much motivating than this, but in 1 week, this member, Dan, has made $54,000 in 1 week, which is pretty crazy. In fact, this is from my Instagram, and for my Instagram at least, got 411 likes. So I know it's a very popular topic and it was a very popular post, but I have a sneaky suspicion that the reason it was so popular is because, $54,000 in 1 week is a crazy amount of money. However, I do want to add in more context because I don't want this to turn into one of the, oh wow, I should just get involved in trading in the stock market because you can make $50,000 in 1 week. There has been a lot in the making behind this, as I'm going to talk about, quite literally years, and that's kind of what I'm going to be focused on here. But yeah, there is still some good success tips that we can take from this in regards to, Dan making $50,000 in 1 week. Now, to set up the context here, this was an email Dan sent me back on March 8th. But the thing about that March 8th is this was back from March 8th, 2016. So the results you just saw for the $50,000, as I pointed out, were the week of March 23rd of 2020. This email, so it's just amazing how this worked out almost to the T 4 years later. So this is essentially 4 years in the making of how everything has played out. But the point here by sharing that is it's been, it's taken over time. So that $54,000 is not like Dan just started last week, okay? So that's lesson number one. If you think that you can all of a sudden in 1 week or 1 month start making $50,000 in 1 week, then I have some oceanfront property in Nebraska I will sell you. It's fantastic, okay? So just that's a little miniature learning lesson. Hopefully you get that, but at the same time, you see it so much. People show up with these weird expectations, and I understand with social media and you got people standing in front of their private jets and all that sort of stuff, but like I said, 4 years in the making here. And then if you want even that much more context, Dan has been a guest on my podcast. So whether you go to iTunes or Spotify or just, claytrader.com/podcast, you can go and look up Dan's episode. It was episode 33. And now we're up in the 260s. So yeah, Dan was a member and a guest a long time ago on it. But the main overall point here is that when it comes to theory, there's no theory here. Dan has been around a long time. I've done previous bits of content on Dan. In fact, that's one of the blog articles I'm going to share with you from 4 years ago. But this is not me thinking. This is not me saying, well, this is how it should work. I think this is what no, this is all played out. So there is no theory here. These are real life practical trading results. So the context of Dan's success. Let's just first start off with what the stock market's goal towards traders is. This is what the market is trying to do to you. Now, I say stock market, but this could be the Forex market. It could be the futures market. It could be the crypto market. It could be the options market. The financial markets, this is their goal towards you as a trader, not as an investor. As an investor, assuming you're patient and you can hold long term, the stock market is actually quite pleasant. But the downside there is when I say long-term, I'm talking decades upon decades. But towards traders, that is what the market is looking to do. I must break you. Now, if you watch these videos, then, last week I used the same exact thing and I talked about it, but I want to take all this a little bit deeper. But to set all the stage here, that's what the market's goal is. That's what the market wants to do to you. It wants to break you. It wants to take your money. It wants to crush you. Clay, you're just being dramatic. Fine. Then don't believe me. Go out there, start trading with real money without taking serious and without having a true strategy and then come back later. And just remember who is trying to be upfront with you. I get it from the marketing sales pitch, angle of things. Just sitting here making it, me sitting on a Lamborghini in front of a private jet out on a private island. That's definitely easier to get people interested in the markets compared to telling them the market wants to break them. That's a terrible Russian accent, but this is from Rocky IV if you're not connecting the dots there. But that is the overall goal. So a trader's first goal, knowing that this is the stock market's goal, so the stock market has its goal towards you, which means you need to have a goal towards the market, is just being able to stay in the game. And this was actually last week, I did a video where I talked more about this and staying in the game, and I used a different member to illustrate the importance of all of this and, how staying in the game and why staying in the game is so important. But that was the moral of that. Now, you're welcome to go back and watch it. I'll put a link down below to that video. But that was the overall idea. Stay in the game. That's what a trader needs to be doing as their first goal, staying in the game. So stay in the game. Yes, you do that by controlling losses and being disciplined. But at the same time, I can admit it, that while that is true, 100% true, yeah, you stay in the game by controlling losses and being disciplined. I talked about that, like I said, in that previous video with a whole bunch of results, and you can go back and check that out. However, what actually does that take? Okay, yeah, I get it to stay in the game. Fair. Okay, yeah, I get it. You stay in the game by controlling losses and being disciplined. But okay, what exactly is going on? How does that play out? And that is where I want to focus now on Dan, and the date here, March 22nd, 2016. So I did this article about Dan 4 years ago. Where does time go? I have no idea. Time flies. It truly does. But that's going to help us take this to the next layer of, yeah, you got to stay in the game, but how exactly? Is there some sort of attribute? Is there some sort of, mental characteristic that you need to be able to have to be able to stay in the game, to be able to control losses, to be able to, be disciplined, stay disciplined? So let me take you to my desktop and we'll take a look at this blog article. Welcome to my desktop here, and specifically the blog article we were just talking about. And this is really going to give us an inside look, a behind the scenes look into what it actually takes to stay in the game. Yeah, you want to stay in the game. That's a big requirement. But what are some of the keys to actually unlocking this ability and, the really just what everything's all about? The market's trying to break you. How do you stay in the game? And this is an attribute that's not really up for debate. I realize that saying, this is not my opinion, this is a fact, seems arrogant. But in this case, it's just the truth. And you can talk to anybody with not even really a shred of success, just a shred of experience trading, and they're going to say, oh yeah, that is definitely going to be required if you want to be able to stay in the game of trading and then ultimately have success. So let's go through this blog article here. Again, I'll put a link down below. So if you're watching this at my site, claytrader.com, or if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put it in the comment section, or not the comment section, the description box. But to set up some context first, let's take a look at some results here, because I know earlier I didn't really provide much. So here is, and this is why I don't need anything more from Dan, because he's been sending me this stuff for years. But here's an account statement, just one of those days. And you can see on this particular day, he made $700. But the point here being, and I'll click on another one just so you can, so right there, here's another one, just the entire account statement. Just a big old screenshot right from his, right from his computer screen. So right there are his results. So this is all documented. This has all happened. And if you've been a member of the community really for any amount of time, then Dan is just, he's a straight shooter, and he's not going to be, out here, posting false stuff. But so here are the results of, what he had, posted for this blog article, which happened again, like 4 years ago. And again, just as a reminder, you can go and see. So, well, Clay, you went through those screenshots too quick. It could have been, that's fine. All you got to do is, like I said, click on the link to this blog article that's on the site, and you can come here and you can click on these very same things and take a look. So if you're skeptical, that's fine. Just go to the blog article and you can click on this stuff too. But the key thing here is that he's going through all these wins, and then March 10th, 2016 rolls around, and he has that number right there occur to him. I realize things are hard to see, but it was a loss of $8,000. So a loss of $8,000. So think about that. That day wiped away. That day wiped away. That day wiped away. That day wiped away. And then probably one of these wiped away. I'm ballparking math. So essentially, one day wiped away 5 days of wins. How would that make you feel? One day, boom, wipes away previously 5 days of your gains. That's not a pleasant feeling. That's not a good feeling at all. Yet, as I talked about, and what Dan is superior at and so good at, is you must Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. You must be mentally tough. You must have mental toughness as a trader. You've got to do that. And that's why I love doing this blog article way back when. And it's crazy how 4 years later, I mean, Dan is still obviously thriving, but this is why. And this is a great, believe it or not, it even comes from Wikipedia, but a great definition. But as I mentioned right here, let's take out the word athlete and replace it with trader as I read this definition. Mental toughness is a term people use that will allow a person to become a better trader, such as difficult training or difficult competitive situations in games, and emerge, and here's the key, without losing confidence. That is what mental toughness is all about. There's going to be difficult times. There's going to be, the market, if you don't think the markets are competitive, then I don't know what planet you're living on, but they are very competitive. And you've got to be able to go through this stuff without losing confidence. This is a beautiful, beautiful definition of mental toughness. Again, shout out to Wikipedia. And that is what Dan thrives at. And that is a tough situation. You're doing well, and then an $8,000 loss, 5 days wiped away. Yeah, you better be ready to just accept it and then still come out with confidence. And what does that confidence look like? Well, let's come down here, and you can see that after that losing day, he got right back to the green. Nothing big at first. As I mentioned there, he was just getting his confidence back, making sure that his confidence wasn't too shaken. So, that's wise. So, quote unquote, only $800. And then you can see he's getting back up to those normal numbers again, and on he goes. And then over the course of that 3 weeks, you can see he ultimately made $20,000, which is kind of like, that's it, Dan? That's terrible, man. You just made $50,000 in a week. But 4 years ago, for him, when he was still growing and figuring things out and obviously doing well, that was $20,000 in 3 weeks. But mental toughness, you've got to be able to build, you've got to be able to establish, and you've got to be able to maintain mental toughness. And the mental toughness continues to play true. I couldn't find it. I don't know where it went, but Dan had actually posted like a $7,000 losing a day from a few days ago. And I get it, $7,000 sounds rough, but within context of things, Dan, for Dan, that's just a managed good loss. And then I just had to share this. The number is insane, but it's funny sometimes, in any chat room community, but you're going to have people sign up. You're going to have people show up. And if you've been around on social media, then you know that people walk around, they say a lot of stuff, they talk trash, some people just make themselves, you understand. So somebody signed up and they were being obnoxious. I'm sorry, I don't like to say that, but sometimes that's exactly what this person was doing, being obnoxious, talking trash, making it seem like they got the markets figured out. And Dan is one of the nicest guys I know, but he's also, he's not messing around. He treats this very seriously. So I just kind of got fed up and asked this person, hey, let's see a screenshot. You're talking this big game like you got it all figured out. You're supposedly making all this money, so let's see a screenshot. And then within that context, Dan posted this screenshot, and this is how screenshots work. And on that day, he's made $25,000. And this is actually recently, even after he made the $50,000 week. So here's $25,000 in a day. I guess I could have done a video on this, but you get the idea. Mental toughness pays. Being mental toughness is a characteristic that can take you very, very far. So get out there, understand tough times are going to happen. Rough times are going to happen. Losses are going to happen. Those losses very well may wipe away some of your gains, but you got to keep persisting on without losing confidence. And that's the tricky part about trading is it's easy to say, oh yeah, you got to be confident, you got to be disciplined, but you got to be able to go through those rough periods. You got to be able to take those losses, take your lumps, and be mentally tough, which again, and what I want to end on, without losing confidence. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button before I go. And I'd also encourage you to check out the channel as a whole. Lots of other content and videos, live trade videos, other, case studies and stuff like that. So hopefully you decide to ultimately hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you part of the channel. And then also as an FYI, if you're interested in networking, trading alongside Dan, trading alongside myself, I mean, these are all results. When I say members from the community, what I'm talking about is right there, claytrader.com/team. So if you want to learn more on that, then you can just go to that link and check it out and get more details on it. But if nothing else, and you enjoy these videos and you would like for me to keep on making these, the easiest and most efficient way to communicate that to me is to hit that like button. And like I said, I hope you decide to subscribe to the channel. But moral of the story, get out there, be mentally tough, and just fight without losing confidence. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.